Baltimore Ravens talk here, and we're going to get into the latest around them, and the latest is, could they potentially draft a wide receiver with the 27th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft? Many draft experts out there, when you look at mock drafts, when you look at the radio shows or whatever they're talking about, a lot of people believe that Baltimore is going to go ahead and draft a receiver in the first round. When I look at some of the biggest needs here for the Ravens, I agree. Wide receiver is definitely a glaring need. No disrespect to Sammy Watkins. It was a good addition. But if you're sitting there saying, okay, Sammy Watkins is going to solve all of my wide receiver issues, I'm simply going to say you're crazy. So the Ravens, they still need to be able to add somebody extra. They still need to be able to add somebody so Lamar Jackson can go out and he can compete, because Jackson's been great his entire career. The only team, realistically, that he has struggled against has been Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't know if he's trying to do too much. I don't know if he's trying to just compete with Patrick, which obviously is not an easy thing to be able to do. But you got Hollywood Brown. You have Sammy Watkins. You lost Willie Snead, which isn't that big of a need, but it's still a pickup first down machine. Yes, you have Mark Andrews. You have a solid running game. But if you could just give Lamar just one more piece, whether it's a big receiver or whether it's somebody you can work on the inside, I think it's something to think about. So what do you guys think about this? If the Ravens will draft a wide receiver at 27 overall, I want you to like the video. If you are confident that maybe you've done 100 mock drafts or maybe you've read a bunch of stuff, if you are confident that the Baltimore Ravens are going to draft a wide receiver at pick number 27, I want you to like the video. If you don't think that they're going to pick a wide receiver at 27, go down in the comments. Let me know maybe some other names. If you want to be a real big overachiever, you're like, you know what? I'm going to like that button, or I'm going to like the video. And if you also want to tell me a wide receiver that you think they go ahead and take, please let me know. I'll be looking. So probably the two biggest receivers that have been linked to Baltimore, at least over the last month, I'll say, Terrace Marshall Jr., wide receiver from LSU, who has got that bigger body, 6'3", 200 pounds, 48 catches last year for the Tigers, 731 yards, 10 touchdowns. Really had to fill the shoes of Jamar Chase, because if Jamar Chase would have played and he not opted out, Chase would have been the wide receiver 1, Marshall would have been the number 2. Unfortunately for him, his numbers definitely went down because, let's face it, I don't even know who the quarterback for LSU was. It was a downgrade over Joe Burrow. There's no doubt about that. The other receiver that's really been popping up here and there, it's Rashod Bateman from Minnesota. He's 6'2", 210 pounds. Last season, 36 catches, 472 yards, and 2 touchdowns. What do both of these receivers have in common? They're a little bit bigger. They can also play the outside. Now, can both guys also go on the inside? Yes, they absolutely can. But when you have a burner like Hollywood Brown, I really think that something that this Baltimore team is missing is a bigger outside receiver, somebody that could probably play in that X role. So here's Joe Horowitz, Ravens Director of Player Personnel, and he was asked basically about both of these wide receivers, and he said, both are talented guys, a little different at what they do best, but certainly two guys that we have our eye on. So not only are you seeing these two players pop up in mock drafts, you're also seeing, Ravens Director of Player Personnel, Joe Horowitz, talk about both of them. So you know what? We're going to put you in the GM chair. We're going to put you on the phone, and both of these players, they're available. Who do you think is the better wide receiver, and who do you think would be the better fit with Baltimore? If you think it's Terrace Marshall Jr., wide receiver from LSU, I want you to go ahead and type M. If you think it's Rashod Bateman, I want you to go ahead and type B. I'm going to go ahead and say Marshall would probably be the better fit for Baltimore in terms of what they need right now. When I see Lamar Jackson, I see him needing a bigger receiver, and realistically, to me, that's Terrace Marshall Jr. Do I like Rashod Bateman? Might he be higher in some of my rankings for other teams? Yes, he might be. But you know what? Let's get wild. Which receiver do I think is more likely to fall to number 58? I'd actually probably say Bateman. Now, some people might disagree with me on that. That's fine. But if you want to go another route for Baltimore and you want to take somebody else at 27 and hopefully another receiver falls down to you, maybe that's the route you go. Luckily for the Ravens, wide receiver is super deep this year. And I don't always know if a wide receiver is the biggest need in terms of 27, but if you want to try to get somebody a little bit later on, maybe Bateman falls, or maybe even somebody like a Rondale Moore, two guys to keep in mind.